So I'm here with Rick, who's a contractor in Northern California. He's the general contractor in charge of this project. This is an apartment building that is, was it 3 stories high or 4 stories high? 3-story high apartment building.
Over a garage.
Over a garage. And what you can see here is that over the years, the hydrostatic pressure from either poor or just lack of drainage has pushed the building over by, well, that's my fist at the top. The sewer pipe is plumb. And this will show you just how much the building has pushed. There's my fist at the top. And there's my fist at the bottom. So, 2.5 inches, would you say, Rick?
2.5 inches on the far wall, which is where the largest amount of hydrostatic pressure is.
And so, so the engineering firm engineered this solution. If you didn't have HydroBlox, how would you have had to do this, and what has HydroBlox meant to this project?
Well, the original concept was that we would dig a hole and put a half of a 30-inch culvert. So we would cut the 30-inch culvert lengthwise, drill it out, and then put gravel inside of it, and that would act as a sump. We would also have to drill our holes at the very bottom of the wall. We found out during the excavation that for 3 feet from the bottom, they used 12-inch block instead of 8-inch, which makes sense when you think about having an 8-foot wall with 7 feet of cover on it. Unfortunately, nobody took that into consideration, so it would have made putting that in really difficult. On top of that, we have a situation where we have less than 3 feet of clearance to a retaining wall on the uphill side. And when we started removing the sidewalk that was there, we discovered that there is a footing on the retaining wall which is only about 18 inches from the building, meaning that physically we couldn't get in to actually do the work.
So if you didn't have HydroBlox to use, what would the building's owner's options have been?
It's hard to say. We could have done it physically, but it would have involved a lot of hand digging and probably digging the entire side wall out, because in order to...
And you're talking about 10 feet. That whole side wall is what you're referring to?
Yeah.
All the way down.
Right.
And on top of, and on the other side of that, on top of that 10 feet is a sidewalk, and then to the right of the sidewalk is the big tall retaining wall.
Right.
And just supporting that retaining wall, I would think would be quite the engineering feat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably we would have had to do major damage to it and do a lot of repair to it also.
Not in terms of actual numbers, but just maybe in percentages. If you didn't have HydroBlox to use, how much more time would this project have taken?
Probably 3 to 4 weeks.
More, 3 to 4 weeks additional. And then in terms of cost to the property owner?
I would say probably double the cost for the labor.
Got it. Okay. Well, thanks very much, Rick.